What if I told you that one of the most powerful, yet overlooked, tools for restoring male vitality wasn't hidden in a high-tech lab or an expensive pharmacy, but was likely sitting in your kitchen pantry right now? What if the same simple, inexpensive white powder you use to bake a cake or freshen your refrigerator could fundamentally address the root causes of erectile dysfunction in men over 60? I'm completely serious, because for countless men, including many of my own patients who felt they had tried everything, something as humble as baking soda has created a profound shift in their circulation, the quality of their erections, their energy levels, and most importantly, their confidence as a man. My name is Dr. Mark James. For over 3 decades, I have dedicated my career as a professor of urology and a men's health specialist to helping older men navigate the issues most are too embarrassed or frustrated to talk about. We're talking about poor blood flow, erections that are soft or unreliable, persistent low energy, and the emotional fatigue that comes from feeling like your body is no longer on your side. I believe that the best medicine isn't always the most complex. Sometimes, the most effective solutions are the ones that have been with us all along, waiting to be understood. Now, here is the part that most men, and even many doctors, never hear. Baking soda, or sodium bicarbonate, isn't just an antacid. When used correctly and respectfully, it can become a powerful ally for your body. It can help support the production of nitric oxide, improve the delivery of oxygen to your tissues, bring your body's pH back into a healthy balance, and even help your own testosterone work more effectively. All of these are absolutely critical for achieving and maintaining strong, lasting erections, especially after the age of 60. So, in this video, I will walk you through 10 amazing, science-backed ways that baking soda can help older men reclaim their vitality and perform with the strength and confidence they deserve. And stay with me, because a little later, our lines reveal a special morning combination that one of my patients used to achieve results that even I found remarkable. Before we dive in, if you are a man over 60 who is committed to finding natural, effective ways to stay strong, energetic, and confident in every area of your life, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. You won't want to miss the science-backed tips we designed specifically for you. And to help me create the content you need most, please interact. If this topic speaks to you, type A1 in the comments below. If not, type A0. I read your feedback, and I am always striving to bring you content that truly helps. Alright, let us begin with the first surprising way baking soda can support stronger erections in men over 60. It has everything to do with something you probably haven't thought about since high school chemistry class. Your blood pH. Most men have no idea that as they age, their body can slowly drift into a state of low-grade metabolic acidosis. This doesn't mean you're acutely ill, but it does mean your internal environment has become too acidic. This subtle shift silently tightens your blood vessels, making them rigid and less responsive, choking off the smooth, rapid blood flow that is essential for a firm erection. This is where baking soda first comes into play. I'll never forget when I first met Harold. He was 69, a recently retired history teacher, and his frustration was palpable. It wasn't just his flagging energy levels, it was something deeper, something he struggled to put into words. "Doc," he finally confessed, his gaze fixed on the floor, "I just don't feel like a man anymore. My mind wants to, my heart wants to, but my body just doesn't respond. It's like the signal isn't getting through." His blood work was mostly normal, his heart was strong. But when I looked at his secondary markers, I saw the clue. His internal pH was leaning too far toward the acidic side. As we age, due to diet, stress, and natural metabolic changes, our body's ability to buffer acid declines. This acidic state creates a constant, low-level tension within the lining of your blood vessels. They become narrower, stiffer, and less able to execute the rapid, dramatic expansion needed for a healthy, spontaneous erection. Think of it like trying to water your garden with a hose that has become old, brittle, and partially clogged with limescale. No matter how much you turn up the tap, the flow is weak and disappointing. That's where baking soda quietly shines. As a natural alkalizing agent, it helps your body gently neutralize excess acid and rebalance its internal pH. When taken correctly, usually a small amount mixed with water on an empty stomach, it can support better blood fluidity, encourage your arteries to relax and become more pliable, and create a vascular superhighway where oxygen and nutrients can travel freely and quickly once again. So, what happened to Harold? I suggested a simple morning routine: a glass of water with a small amount of baking soda and a squeeze of fresh lemon. 3 weeks later, he walked into my office a different man. There was a lightness in his step and a genuine smile on his face. "Something's definitely changed, Doc," he said. "It's subtle, but I feel like my whole body is flowing again. I'm waking up feeling different." And my wife has noticed, too. This first, foundational shift of rebalancing your pH may seem simple, but it creates the necessary environment for everything else to work. Blood that flows freely can deliver more of everything your body needs to the places that matter most. And when that balance is restored, the positive effects can ripple outward in ways that reach far beyond the bedroom. But what if I told you that baking soda doesn't just improve how the blood moves? It also actively helps fight the invisible fire of inflammation that has been choking your performance from the inside out for years. Let's explore the second benefit, which may be even more critical than the first. One of the most insidious enemies of a man's sexual performance after 60 isn't just low testosterone, it's chronic, low-grade inflammation. It's a slow, silent, and constant process. I often call it the quiet thief in my practice. It doesn't arrive with a bang. It doesn't cause sharp pain. But over decades, it relentlessly chips away at the delicate lining of your blood vessels, dulls your nerve endings, saps your energy, and suffocates your erections. I remember working with Samuel, a 71-year-old former business owner. He had a strong voice and a proud, confident demeanor, but his eyes told a story of deep disappointment. "Doctor," he said, his voice lowering, "it feels like my body is constantly fighting itself. Even when my mind and heart are ready to feel close to my wife, I feel physically incapable. It's like there's a wall inside me." When we ran his labs, his cholesterol was well managed and he wasn't diabetic. But his inflammatory markers, like C-reactive protein CRP, were persistently elevated. That was the smoking gun. Here's what most men are never told: chronic inflammation hardens and damages the very inner lining of your blood vessels, a delicate layer called the endothelium. This is the command center when nitric oxide, the master molecule for erections, is supposed to be produced. But when the endothelium is inflamed, it's like trying to start a car with corroded battery terminals. The system gets jammed. Nitric oxide production plummets, blood flow is restricted, sensitivity diminishes, and your body simply cannot respond the way it was designed to. This is why baking soda can be such a powerful, strategic ally. Groundbreaking studies, including research from the Medical College of Georgia at Augusta University, have shown that sodium bicarbonate can actually signal the spleen to produce more anti-inflammatory immune cells. It essentially tells your body's security system to calm down and stop attacking its own infrastructure, especially the vascular system. When that systemic inflammation begins to subside, the endothelium can start to heal. Blood vessels become more flexible, nitric oxide can flow freely again, and erections become possible, not forced with a pill, but as a natural, spontaneous result of a healthier internal state. Samuel started a simple protocol: half a teaspoon of baking soda in a large glass of water each morning, followed by a brisk 15-minute walk to get his circulation moving. Within a month, the change was remarkable. He reported not only the return of more frequent morning erections, but also a noticeable increase in his daily energy and mental clarity. "It feels like something deep inside me has been unclogged," he told me, a look of relief washing over his face. And that's exactly what reducing inflammation feels like: Less pressure, more flow, more ease, but here's the fascinating part. While inflammation is a huge roadblock, your body still needs the explicit green light, the chemical signal that actually triggers an erection. That signal is nitric oxide. And believe it or not, baking soda plays a surprising role, helping your body produce more of it. Let me show you how. This next benefit could be the turning point for many of you. If you've ever found yourself wondering why things just don't kick in the way they used to, the answer often comes down to one single, powerful molecule that your body once produced in abundance, but now struggles to generate: nitric oxide, or nitrogen monoxide. Nitric oxide is the spark that starts the entire erectile process. It is the messenger that tells the smooth muscles in your arterial walls to relax and the blood vessels to dilate. It is the director that signals a rush of blood to flood into your penis when the moment is right. Without sufficient nitric oxide, arousal can be present mentally and emotionally, but the physical response is muted or completely absent. I recall a patient named Thomas, who was 66 and a passionate cyclist. He was relatively healthy, still very active, and his hormone levels were in a decent range. But during our consultation, he said something that perfectly captured the problem. "Doc, I still have the desire. I want to be intimate with my partner. But it's like there's a dead wire between my brain and my body. The switch just isn't flipping anymore." That is exactly what a nitric oxide deficit feels like. Your brain says yes, your heart says yes, but your vascular system says nothing. Here's the good news. Baking soda doesn't contain nitric oxide, but it helps create the ideal internal environment for your body to manufacture and preserve more of it naturally. Here's how. Nitric oxide is a very fragile molecule with a short lifespan. In an acidic environment, it breaks down and dissipates almost instantly. By helping to alkalize your blood and tissues, baking soda acts as a bodyguard for nitric oxide. It protects the endothelial lining when nitrogen monoxide is made and reduces the oxidative stress that destroys it. This preserves and enhances nitric oxide function, allowing it to stick around long enough to do its job. In one study, athletes who supplemented with sodium bicarbonate demonstrated improved vascular performance and stamina, partly because their bodies could better utilize oxygen and generate nitric oxide under the physical stress of exercise. And the mechanisms that work for athletic endurance also work for erectile endurance. Both require rapid, expansive blood flow and immediate vessel responsiveness. Thomas gave it a try. We started him on a protocol of baking soda with lemon water each morning, which he paired with simple nasal breathing exercises known to boost nitric oxide release. A few weeks later, he came back with a different energy. "I'm waking up with something I haven't seen in years," he said with a grin. More importantly, he felt that his body was finally, naturally, responding to his desire again. But nitric oxide is just one part of the story. Once the blood reaches the right places, it still needs to deliver its precious cargo oxygen to your tissues quickly and efficiently. If that delivery system is sluggish, your performance will be too. Luckily, baking soda can help here as well. Let me explain why in our next point. One of the most overlooked components of a strong, healthy erection is something we rarely discuss in relation to sexual health after 60: oxygen. I'm not talking about the oxygen you breathe, but the precise, targeted delivery of oxygen directly to the spongy tissues and blood vessels inside your penis. Without a rich supply of oxygen, even if blood manages to reach the area, the tissue cannot fully engorge, expand, or maintain its rigidity. The result is often a weak, short-lived, or completely absent erection. I remember sitting with Richard, a 72-year-old retired fire chief. He was a man who had built his life on being strong, reliable, and in control. But as he spoke, his words carried the heavy weight of vulnerability. "Doc, I just feel like I'm running out of fuel down there," he said. "Everything feels slower, heavier, duller." His cardiovascular markers were good, but one number stood out on his comprehensive panel. His oxygen saturation was on the lower end of the normal range. This is not uncommon. As we age, and particularly if low-grade acidity or inflammation is present, our red blood cells become less efficient at carrying and, crucially, releasing oxygen to the tissues. This is where baking soda plays another subtle but critical role, thanks to a physiological principle known as the Bohr effect. In simple terms, when your blood is slightly more alkaline, less acidic, your hemoglobin, the protein in red blood cells that carries oxygen, can offload that oxygen to your tissues more effectively. A more acidic environment makes hemoglobin hold onto oxygen more tightly, starving the tissues that need it. By helping to alkalize the blood, baking soda essentially greases the wheels of oxygen delivery. This means more revitalizing oxygen can reach the penile tissue when arousal begins, supporting firmer, warmer, and more sustained erections. Richard began a morning ritual: a small glass of water with half a teaspoon of baking soda, sipped slowly before breakfast. Within a few weeks, he wasn't just noticing better energy throughout the day. He specifically mentioned improved sensation and warmth during moments of intimacy. "It feels warmer," he said, searching for the right words. "Like things are flowing again, like they're supposed to." That warmth he described, that's real oxygenation at work. When oxygen finally reaches its target destination, your body feels alive again, alert, responsive, and capable. But oxygen isn't just for arousal. It is also the fuel for the tiny muscles inside your penis that must contract to trap and hold blood during an erection. If those muscles are tired, performance suffers. That brings us to our next benefit, one that speaks directly to your body's hidden energy system. Most men I work with have never heard of the trabecular smooth muscle cells inside their penis, but these microscopic, unsung heroes are absolutely vital for strong, lasting erections. Their job is twofold. They relax to allow blood to rush in, and then they contract to trap that blood, holding it to sustain the erection long enough for satisfying intimacy. And at the very center of their power is one thing: cellular energy. I remember my patient Gerald, a 68-year-old retired mechanic who was as sharp as a tack. But during our first appointment, he looked down at his hands and quietly said, "It's not just that I can't get as hard as I used to, Doc. It's like the whole system just shuts off halfway through. I feel like I just run out of gas." That running out of gas analogy was perfect. I explained to him that the energy-producing engines inside his smooth muscle cells, the mitochondria, were lightly sputtering and slowing down. Suddenly, it all made sense to him. You see, mitochondria are the power plants of every cell in your body. They take in fuel like oxygen and glucose and produce ATP, the body's usable energy currency. But as we age, and especially under conditions of chronic acidity and oxidative stress, these mitochondria become damaged and inefficient. And when they struggle, your erections struggle. The penis simply can't hold the blood because the smooth muscle lacks the energy and strength to maintain its contraction. This is where baking soda offers a subtle but powerful boost. By acting as a buffer against lactic acid and other metabolic byproducts, and by supporting a more alkaline environment, baking soda helps mitochondria perform their job better. It creates the clean, balanced internal state needed for these tiny energy factories to run more efficiently, especially in the crucial smooth muscle tissue of the penis. Gerald began taking baking soda a few times a week, pairing it with light morning stretches and deep breathing to further enhance oxygenation. Within a month, he said something I'll never forget. With a look of quiet amazement, he told me, "It feels like the engine's turning over again. Not perfectly, but it's alive." That's what mitochondrial renewal feels like. It's not a jolt of caffeine. It's a quiet, steady, deep-seated re-energizing. And here is the fascinating part. Your mitochondria aren't the only part of your system affected by acidity. Your hormones, especially testosterone, are also profoundly influenced by this internal environment. Next, let's explore how baking soda doesn't just boost energy, but actually helps your body hear and respond to testosterone more effectively. It's one of the most common and frustrating things I hear from men in my clinic. "Doc, my doctor says my testosterone numbers look fine on paper, but I still feel tired, unmotivated, and nothing is happening in the bedroom. Why?" And they're not wrong. Their testosterone levels are often within the so-called normal range. But what I explain next usually comes as a complete surprise. The amount of testosterone in your blood is only half of the equation. The other, often ignored half, is whether your body can actually use the testosterone you have. This comes down to something called receptor sensitivity. Think of it this way: testosterone is the key, but your cells have locks, called receptors. If the locks are rusty or gummed up, the key won't work, no matter how many you have. I'll never forget Martin, a 64-year-old retired police officer. He had a strong frame and a clear mind, but his eyes were filled with defeat. "They told me my T levels were good, Doc, so why do I still feel so flat?" We ran more tests, and sure enough, his levels were decent for his age, but I had a hunch. Years of stress, a diet that was a bit too acidic, and the resulting chronic inflammation can dull your hormone receptors, making them sluggish and resistant. It's like trying to have a conversation by yelling through a thick wall. The message is being sent, but it isn't being received clearly. That's where baking soda can help in a way most men never expect. By gently reducing systemic acidity and lowering inflammation, it helps to clean up the internal environment in which your hormones operate. It doesn't magically raise your testosterone levels, but it helps to clean the locks. It clears the static and cellular debris, allowing your receptors to become more sensitive and efficient. This allows the testosterone you already have to bind properly, activate the cell, and do its job of fueling libido, energy, and muscle function. Martin started a simple routine: a small amount of baking soda in water, a few mornings each week, combined with some light resistance training to further stimulate his receptors. About 6 weeks later, he walked in with a smile that reached his eyes. "My drive is coming back," he said. "Not just in the bedroom, but everywhere, at the gym, with my projects." It's like something finally switched back on. That switch wasn't from more testosterone. It was from his body finally being able to hear it. So yes, baking soda can support erections, not just by improving blood flow, but by optimizing the very hormonal pathways that fuel desire, motivation, and physical strength. And yet, even with balanced hormones, your body's performance depends on more than just testosterone. Your vital organs, especially your liver and kidneys, play a powerful, behind-the-scenes role. What baking soda does for them might be the key to unlocking your overall vitality. Let's take a look. One of the most overlooked reasons men begin to lose their edge physically, sexually, and emotionally after 60 is something we rarely connect to performance: toxic load. Over decades, your body accumulates a buildup of metabolic waste, environmental chemicals, and even old hormones that no longer serve you. The two key organs responsible for cleaning house are your liver and kidneys. When these vital organs become overworked, sluggish, and burdened by an acidic internal state, everything slows down. Blood becomes thicker and harder to pump. Hormones become imbalanced because the liver can't process them properly. Circulation weakens. Even your mood and mental clarity begin to fade. I've seen this time and again in men who appear healthy on the outside but feel completely stuck and stagnant on the inside. I often think about a patient named Carlos, a 70-year-old retired accountant. He had a clean diet and never smoked, yet he told me he felt toxic, like something was off deep inside. His blood pressure had slowly crept up, his libido had vanished, and his energy was flatlined. We looked at his labs and saw the subtle signs: slightly elevated uric acid, mild kidney strain, and indicators of a sluggish liver. Nothing that would set off major alarm bells, but just enough to explain the way he felt. That's where baking soda quietly steps in to lend a hand. For the kidneys, it helps reduce the overall acid load they have to filter, supporting a healthier urinary pH and making their job easier. For the liver, It can promote better bile flow and support phase to detoxification pathways by reducing systemic inflammation and easing the burden of metabolic waste. It's a gentle, supportive action, not an aggressive, harsh detox, which is perfect for older men who need a little extra help without overloading their system. Carlos began a simple routine of using a small dose of baking soda every other morning, paired with increased hydration and a warm lemon water ritual. 3 weeks later, he reported something simple but profound. "My body feels lighter," he said. "Like I'm not carrying as much baggage," and his intimacy. It started returning, slowly but noticeably. When the organs that process your blood and hormones are working more efficiently, everything else in your body begins to respond in kind. And now, let's take this one step further. You've heard me talk about flow and performance, but what if I told you baking soda could also help reduce the very cravings and stubborn belly fat that are silently stealing your testosterone and making erections harder to achieve? What comes next might surprise you even more. If you're a man over 60, you've probably noticed it. The weight around your midsection seems to hang on with a vengeance, even if you feel like you're eating better than ever. And those random, powerful cravings for sweets or simple carbs, they can ambush you at night, after dinner, or right before bed, and they feel almost impossible to resist. I remember Jack, a 66-year-old former high school football coach. He walked into my office, patted his stomach with a look of disgust, and said, "This thing right here, Doc, it's ruining my life. I can't get rid of it, and I'm convinced it's killing my drive." Jack had already tried cutting calories, eating more salads, and walking every day. But the cravings, the low energy, and the frustrating drop in bedroom performance were still there. What many men don't know is that abdominal fat isn't just a passive storage depot for calories. It's an active endocrine organ. That stubborn belly fat produces an enzyme called aromatase, which has the disastrous effect of converting your precious testosterone into estrogen. So, the more belly fat you carry, the more of your manhood hormone you lose, creating a vicious cycle of low energy, more cravings, and even more fat storage. When your hormones are this off-kilter, everything from desire to circulation to performance begins to fade. This is where baking soda plays another surprising role. By helping to balance your body's pH, it can support more stable blood sugar levels throughout the day. When your blood sugar isn't spiking and crashing, you are less likely to experience those intense, uncontrollable sugar cravings that sabotage your health goals. And when you're not constantly fighting the blood sugar roller coaster, your body can finally shift out of emergency storage mode and back into fat-burning mode, especially around the midsection. Jack added a simple habit to his morning: a glass of water with baking soda and lemon, followed by a protein-rich breakfast and some light movement. Within 4 weeks, the change was visible. The intense nightly cravings were down, his belly started to shrink, and perhaps most importantly, his confidence began to return. "I don't feel out of control anymore," he said, "and when I look in the mirror, I don't see a man who is giving up." Less sugar leads to less belly fat, which leads to better hormone balance and a better chance at the healthy, vigorous life you deserve. But there's still one crucial piece of the puzzle we haven't talked about, and it's the one that most men completely overlook. What if the reason you're struggling isn't just physical, but neurological? And what if baking soda could help reset the very system that controls it all? Let's go deeper. There's a component of male performance that gets almost no attention, and it's not blood flow, and it's not testosterone. It's your nervous system. If your brain and nerves are not aligned with the moment, even the healthiest body in the world can fail to perform. I have seen it time and time again, men who genuinely want intimacy, who feel the desire, but when the time comes, their body freezes and shuts down. More often than not, the problem isn't a lack of circulation, but a state of neurological panic. I remember Tom, 70 years old, a retired military officer. He had a strong posture and clear eyes, but his voice dropped to a whisper when we got to the real reason he came to see me. I still love my wife more than anything, he said, his voice thick with emotion. But every time we get close, I panic. My body just freezes up. It's like it's bracing for impact. I could tell this wasn't about his heart health or his hormone levels. This was about a nervous system stuck in high alert, locked in fight or flight mode. Here's something many men are never told. As we age, the delicate balance between our sympathetic fight or flight and parasympathetic hist and digest nervous systems can be thrown off. Years of stress, past trauma, chronic inflammation, and even poor sleep can keep your body locked in a state of high tension. And when that happens, your brain literally redirects blood flow away from the genitals and towards the major muscle groups, preparing for a threat. It's a survival mechanism that works directly against intimacy. Baking soda may seem like an odd solution for a nervous system issue, but the science is compelling. By reducing systemic acidity and its associated inflammation, it helps your parasympathetic or rest and relax nervous system to take the lead. It helps create the internal state of calm and safety that your body needs to feel open, receptive, and responsive. Some research even suggests that the kidneys and spleen, when supported by bicarbonate, send fewer stress signals to the brain, further promoting a state of relaxation. Tom started using baking soda just a few times a week. Pairing it with specific breathing exercises, I taught him to consciously activate his parasympathetic response. Within a few weeks, the difference was profound. It's like my body finally feels safe enough to connect again, he told me. For him, that changed everything, not just physically, but emotionally. When your body feels calm, it allows everything else to come online. You connect more deeply, you respond more naturally. You regain the beautiful, easy rhythm that true performance depends on. But what if we could take everything we've talked about, blood flow, hormones, oxygen, energy, and command amplify it all with one simple, natural combination? That's exactly what we'll uncover in our final benefit. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. After everything we have covered: improving blood flow, boosting oxygen, supporting nitric oxide, increasing cellular energy, enhancing hormone sensitivity, and even calming the nervous system, there is one final piece I want to share with you. It's a small, natural combination I've seen make a surprising and holistic impact in men over 60, and it involves two ingredients you probably already have in your kitchen: fresh lemon juice or raw apple cider vinegar ACV. Now, on their own, both lemon and ACV are incredible health allies. They are rich in antioxidants, support healthy digestion, and can help regulate blood sugar. But when you combine a small amount with baking soda in water, something unique and synergistic happens. The combination creates a gentle, buffered reaction. While lemon and ACV are acidic in nature, they have an alkalizing effect on the body after they are metabolized. Combining them with baking soda creates a solution of sodium citrate or sodium acetate, which can gently stimulate bile flow, lower systemic acidity, and support both liver function and vascular tone without being too harsh on the system. More importantly, they help baking soda work even better, making it more palatable and helping it to gently nudge the body back towards balance. I'll never forget Barry, 74, a widower for 5 years. He was beginning to explore intimacy again with a new partner, but told me he felt rusted shut. We had talked through exercise, diet, and circulation, but something was still missing. So I suggested he start his mornings with a simple ritual: 1 large glass of warm water, a squeeze of half a fresh lemon, and a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, stirred and sipped slowly on an empty stomach. About a month later, he came into my office beaming. "I didn't expect much, to be honest, Doc," he said. "But I wake up feeling more alive. My gut feels lighter, my mind is clearer, and, well, I'm responding again, if you know what I mean." That simple combination, baking soda with lemon or apple cider vinegar, doesn't force anything. It supports the entire system: your gut, your blood vessels, your nerves, your hormones. It helps bring the body back into a state of harmony so it can function the way it was brilliantly designed to. And ultimately, that is the entire point. Real, lasting change doesn't come from one magic pill or one quick fix. It comes from patiently restoring balance, from giving your body the fundamental tools it needs to heal and respond naturally. Baking soda, especially when paired with the right lifestyle choices and ingredients, is one of those powerful, foundational tools. Now that you've seen all 10 benefits, you're probably wondering, how do I actually use baking soda safely, consistently, and in a way that fits my daily routine? That's exactly what I'll walk you through in the final part of this video. Let's wrap it all up, and I'll show you exactly how to get started. If you have made it this far, I want to sincerely thank you, not just for listening, but for caring enough about your health, your future, and your masculinity to stay curious and open-minded, because that's what this is really about: curiosity, resilience, and the willingness to take back control of your body, even after 60. We've covered a tremendous amount of ground today, 10 distinct and powerful ways that something as simple and overlooked as baking soda can support stronger, healthier erections without medication, without debilitating side effects, and without shame. We began with how baking soda helps balance your blood pH, creating the ideal environment for a smoother circulation. Then we talked about reducing inflammation in your blood vessels, removing one of the most silent and destructive obstacles to male performance. Next, we uncovered how it supports your body's natural nitric oxide production, the vital signal for arousal. We saw how baking soda improves oxygen delivery to the tissues that need it most, a key for firmness and sensation. We went to the cellular level, discussing how it boosts mitochondrial energy in the smooth muscle cells that sustain an erection. We explored how it can enhance testosterone receptor sensitivity, helping your body use the hormones it already has. We looked at how it supports liver and kidney detoxification, lightening the load on your body's essential filtration systems. We touched on how a balanced pH can help reduce sugar cravings and belly fat, which are enemies of good hormonal health. We explored the crucial role of the nervous system and how a calmer internal state allows for physical response and intimacy. And finally, we brought it all together with the powerful combination of baking soda with lemon or apple cider vinegar, a simple ritual to support your entire system. Now, I want to speak to you directly, not as a doctor on a screen, but as a man who has spent decades listening to other men in their most vulnerable moments. If you have been struggling, if you have felt frustrated, embarrassed, or even ashamed, I want you to hear this. There is hope. You are not broken. Your body is an incredible, resilient system that may just need the right support, time, and a few small, consistent shifts to bring it back into balance. Baking soda is not a magic bullet. It will not fix everything overnight. But used wisely and respectfully, it can be a powerful starting point, a gentle nudge in the right direction that gives your body the alkaline environment it needs to begin healing and responding again. Start small. Begin with just 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda in an 8 to 10 ounce glass of water. You can slowly work up to 1/2 teaspoon if you feel comfortable. Timing is key. Drink it on an empty stomach, ideally first thing in the morning, at least 20 to 30 minutes before food. Don't overdo it. This is not something to be taken every single day indefinitely. A good starting protocol is to use it 3 to 4 days a week, giving your body days off. Listen to your body. The combination, if you choose, add the juice of half a fresh lemon or 1 tablespoon of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar to the water before adding the baking soda. Stir and sip. The most important step, talk to your doctor. This is non-negotiable. If you have high blood pressure, kidney disease, heart failure, or are on a low-sodium diet, you must consult your physician before trying this, as baking soda contains sodium. Pair this with good sleep, deep breathing, light movement, and a little faith in your body's incredible ability to recover. Because the truth is, even after 60, 70, or 80, you are still capable of strength, of passion, and of deep connection. You deserve that. And it is never, ever too late to begin. If you found value in this, I encourage you to talk to your doctor, try it gently, and see how your body responds. And as always, I'll be right here with you, bringing you more real, honest advice to help you live stronger, longer, and better. If this video gave you new insight, a little bit of hope, or even just made you feel seen, then I invite you to do something simple but powerful. Give it a like, not just for me, but so more men out there, men just like you, can find this information. The more engagement this video receives, the more it gets pushed to those who might be silently struggling right now, searching for answers, but too afraid to ask. Leave a comment below, even if it's just to say 1 if this resonated, or 0 if you didn't connect with it. I read every comment. This isn't just about sharing knowledge. It's about creating a space where men over 60 can be honest, supported, and empowered to take their health seriously. If you know someone, a brother, a friend, a neighbor who might benefit from hearing this message, please share it with them. You might be the reason they finally take that first step towards reclaiming their health. And if you believe in this kind of content, natural, science-based, and made specifically for older men, consider supporting the channel. Whether it's through a small donation, joining as a channel member, or just spreading the word, every bit helps us keep this message alive and growing. You matter, your health matters. And I'm honored to be a voice in your journey. Thank you for watching. Stay strong, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.